Good to be with you on this Friday morning. Tomorrow I'm going to be in Madison, Wisconsin for Fighting Bob Fest. I guess I'm the final speaker, so stick around. I'm going to rev up everybody. Lots to talk about. Lots unfolding. Did Jeb Bush resurrect his campaign by, number one, going after Donald Trump on casino gambling, going after Donald Trump on foreign policy out on the stump yesterday, and also trying to convince the American people that his brother kept us safe? These are three angles that Bush is playing right now, and I don't think any of them are going to work. First of all, I'm fixated on this. He thinks that his brother kept us safe. So that means, under that logic, that the President of the United States, George W. Bush, had no responsibility to keep the country safe until after we got hit. Bush did not keep us safe. Cheney did not keep us safe. And if you don't know the story, just go Google August 6th presidential daily briefing and see what Bush and Cheney and the rest of these jokers were told. They paid no attention to their intelligence agency when they said that, look, these terrorists, Al-Qaeda, which has hit us in the past, they want to hijack commercial airplanes and fly them into buildings. I mean, for the mainstream media to allow this narrative to develop right now that, well, Bush kept us safe is crazy. And what Jeb Bush is doing, he's using that narrative to support his position on foreign policy that, oh, yeah, we can go in and bomb the hell out of it, put troops on the ground, and we'll do everything we have to do to defeat ISIS because it worked the first time in Iraq because my brother kept us safe. This is crazy. All right. I want to go to the chairman of the Broward Democratic Party, Broward County Democratic Party in Florida, and also the former chair of the Democratic Party, and that is Mitch Ceasar, great friend of mine who we used a lot on television, and of course he's going to be with me a lot on Ed Schultz News and Commentary. Mitch, good to have you with us today.
How are you, Ed? Good to be here.
What do you make of Bush saying that, my brother kept us safe? What's that strategy? What is that lie?
Well, I mean, Jeb is fading. Trump said he's low energy. At least the other night he was medium energy, but he was as stiff as a board. It's interesting. It's like when you're a kid in the third grade and get in a playground fight and you say, you can say anything you want, but you can't say anything about my family. And he's busy defending his brother and his wife. Obviously, President Bush, as you said, and I've said many times, has a negative record. He says he's going to be his own man. So if you're going to be your own man, does that mean you would have done as well or as bad? Yeah. Then how can you be your own man when all your advisors are the same neocons that his brother used? And now they're rolling out Dick Cheney and his book to keep up this type of constant drumbeat and in effect, indirectly give Jeb Bush cover. It's a fantasy. You can't defend what's indefensible.
Here is the exchange that took place the other night.
Your brother and your brother's administration gave us Barack Obama because it was such a disaster those last 3 months that Abraham Lincoln couldn't have been elected.
You know what? As it relates to my brother, there's one thing I know for sure. He kept us safe. I don't know if you remember.
See, now that response from those folks in the Reagan Library, that goes back to the old Reagan theme, don't ever take a shot at another Republican. The fact is that they're trying to do history revisionism that's taking place here right now. We got hit on Bush's watch. Their judgment was poor. And, Mitch, this whole discussion came out from judgment. Do you want someone with good judgment? The next thing is that Bush goes out on the campaign trail in New Hampshire and says this about Donald Trump's foreign policy.
I hope I will be so brilliant and so eloquent and so high energy. I'm not going to get my foreign policy based on watching the shows or say, don't worry about it, I'll figure it out later. That's right. You need a president with a steady hand because this is a dangerous world.
Okay, his steady hand is to, I guess, do it the way his brother did it and lie us into a war and lie us into a theme that might get us to defeat ISIS. It's psycho talk is what it is. But is this a soft end underbelly of Trump? Is this how Bush is going to move forward in the polls?
Well, I think he's desperate. I mean, he raised all the money early while expectations were high. Now expectations and reality are much, much lower. It's interesting. He talks about how his brother kept everybody safe, but at that same time, while Jeb Bush was governor, a lot of the terrorists were training as pilots in Florida.
Yeah.
There's actually a tie to the brothers, even Jeb. That stuff was going under his nose, under his brother's nose. Seems to be a family trait, unfortunately.
Okay. There's another angle that's being played out here that unfolded in the debate the other night. Trump is going around saying that he's turning money down, that he can't be bought. And I think that this is something that the American people are gravitating to. It's the same thing over on the left where Bernie Sanders is saying, hey, I'm not taking PAC money, okay, and I'm not running negative ads. Here's Trump saying that, well, I'm not taking any money. You know, I can't be bought. And so this was brought up in the debate when Jeb Bush said, wait a minute, you tried to buy your way into casino gambling in Florida. Here it is.
The one guy that had some special interest that I know of that tried to get me to change my views on something that was generous and gave me money was Donald Trump. He wanted casino gambling in Florida.
I didn't want it.
Yes, you did.
Totally false.
You wanted it, and you didn't get it because I was opposed to casino gambling before, during, and after. And that's not, I'm not going to be bought by anybody.
I promise, if I wanted it, I would have gotten it.
So I asked the question the other day on this production, Ed Schultz News and Commentary, how is any Republican going to respond to what Trump says about not taking money? Well, Bush has found a way. He says, wait a minute, you gave me $50,000. You held a $500 a plate fundraiser for me down in Florida. You wanted casino gambling. The key to this that I think Trump is hanging his hat on is that he never personally asked Bush to support casino gambling. So there's a lot of detail to this story. It unfolded in about a 1-minute exchange at the debate the other night, which I think it is the devil in the detail we got to get to. Mitch Ceasar, where's the truth? Where's the bullshit in this?
Well, I remember during the casino gambling fight, and I remember that Bush was against it, and I also remember that Trump was for it. There are news reports that although he didn't discuss it with Trump, the Speaker of the Florida House met with Trump. Certainly Trump's deputies met, and there's a lot of legislators who have already commented publicly, who are Republicans, who said, we sat in at the meetings. We remember his organization, his people wanted it. What he did was he hid behind, not that, he was trying to make a deal with the Seminole Indians, and to run what's the biggest piece in Florida, the Seminole Hard Rock, which is actually 10 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
And I recall very specifically how his folks were pushing casino gambling, how Bush literally from a religious perspective was against it,
Yeah.
and clearly he was involved. So when he said it, I started to laugh. I was sitting at home watching, and I remember that being absolutely ridiculous. But he was hiding behind, I think.
So Trump's lying. So Trump is not being completely truthful here.
No, it was an absolute lie because he tried to tie into the Seminole Indian Compact and used them. He had a deal in the works to manage the Seminole Hard Rocks, which is the Seminole Indians. And that deal fell through, but he was trying to go through that methodology.
Okay. So Trump is got some gray area on this. You say he lied. It sounds like he did, although he never spoke directly with the governor. So if Trump really wanted it and had to have it, wouldn't he have picked up the phone personally and said to Bush, hey, I gave you $50,000. I held a fundraiser for you. This is what I want. He never personally asked. Is that the room that he's using right now?
It is, and I got to tell you how it works in the lobbying perspective. You have a governor who your people have already told you is absolutely against it. So, yes, you could pick up the phone, but if you feel it's a dying deal, you don't pick up the phone if you're Donald Trump. You have your staff do it. You only do that if you feel somebody's on the ropes and you could push them over the line.
Okay.
They felt Bush couldn't be pushed over the line on the issue.